how important, like you said, obviously nowadays we have like so many aids, like whatever to uh, help us in remembering history or and such. But how important do you think it is with the conservation of like our, because now we have all these tools, and we had this, we are talking about this a little bit about like how do we preserve all this, or how do we maintain all this, the rich and dying cultures that we have.
So I feel that the need of the hour is to create a digital archive, wherein like academics, community folklorists, knowledge keepers are all part of the project of conserving. I wouldn't say preserving, but conserving our culture, because when we say preserving, it's very. It sounds as if we are freezing it, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So
instead of yes.
So conserving our narratives or our origin myths, like that. Because even me, I got into this field of inquiry only much later in life. I was already in my 20s, and I was just thinking that what if I had, it might not have been too late, but then what if I had gotten into it when I was much younger, like that.
How do you think we're, generation by generation, we're losing touch with, like, our roots, or our culture, or our, like, origins? Like, what do you think is leading to that? Like, why?
Globalization. What else?
Right.
So, the thing is that globalization is at the core of globalization, what it is trying to do is that it is trying to universalize human experience. So somebody in a village in Russia or Iceland and somebody in a village in Nagaland will be able to access the same experience, human experience, whether it's in clothing, food, watching movies, culture. So globalization has some major players like Americans or nowadays it's Korean culture, right? So they are always contesting for getting the hegemony of their own cultures and imposing it on the other subcultures like ours.
Globally, right?
Yes.
Right.
So in a world like that, right? In a world that is trying to continuously universalize human experience, folk culture becomes so important, not only for asserting our identity as a tribe or a community or an ethnic group, but folk culture becomes so important in order to know and have an awareness of ourselves, not only as individuals but as community. Because I'll tell you, like, community conscious is something that is very, very strong, and there are so many factors obviously that are there.
But yeah, I totally agree with you about the globalization and how it is of utmost importance of how we have to, like, try and like you said, not preserve, but, like, conserve and, like, maybe even promote, like, and push it to the forefront, our culture. And I appreciate what you're doing in regards, like, to your like with your books, or even with the things that you write about this. And I feel that, like, Nagas just need a little nudge to get into this line of like how important our culture is. And I'm also a late bloomer in this, like, it's a recent discovery that I'm having and getting into it. But I feel that along with conversations like this, and through your books and through other people books and conversation, I think we need to be a little more aware. I mean, I not little more, I feel a lot more aware. And, like, we discussed this that day, the importance of culture, and not just what culture is to a lot of Nagas today is just the shawl or the dance, or it's much more that exactly, it's not tokenistic, and, like, it should be much deeper than that, and it is. And what are your thoughts on that, like,
Yeah, see, one of the things that I have realized is that as a community undergoes increased globalization, right? There will be ways of contesting that kind of hegemony, right? So you will have, so the more American culture, for example, or Korean culture comes into the society or a particular community, there will be resistances to that kind of force, and it's natural, right? So of late, I have also seen that I wouldn't call it revival of the past, but people have been revisiting their histories, revisiting their past, okay, and revisiting our roots. So I think maybe you and I, when we were growing up, these questions never came to our mind
100%,
because
yeah.
because it was so close. We were living so close to that kind of world, right? Where we were still told folk tales, where we could hear our parents using proverbs or our parents using certain euphemisms for
Right,
certain
right.
things, right? But as you grow now, today, when we come in 2022, all we can see that there are efforts being made. So I think that there are individuals, there are NGOs, and academics, of course, who are in the pursuit of studying our cultures and taking from there something to with us, bringing something out of that past into our present. But the problem with, I wouldn't say the problem, but the thing about academia or research is that it is so self-contained, right?
Yes, we talked about this.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so self-contained that it's like we're living in an ivory tower, and there is really a need to go beyond the confines of the ivory tower and make research or scholarship or academia, whatever you call it, accessible, and it should feature more in the wider public debate.